Hello, my name is Sonali and welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm. Today we are doing a reading vlog for the subscriber pick for the month of September 2025. For those of you who don't know, subscriber picks are reading vlogs in which you choose a book for me to read, vlog and share my thoughts about with you. And the book that you chose for September 2025 was The Bastard of Istanbul by Elif Shafak. Elif Shafak has been an author who I've been wanting to read for a long time. I'm so glad that you chose this book for me to read, vlog and share my thoughts about with you. So before we start the vlog, as usual, the blurb. One rainy afternoon in Istanbul, a 19-year-old unmarried woman walks into a doctor's surgery. I need to have an abortion, she announces. 20 years later, Asya Kazancı lives with her extended family in Istanbul. All the Kazancı men die in their early 40s, victims of the mysterious family curse, so it is a house of women. Among them are Asya's beautiful, rebellious mother, her clairvoyant aunt, and their hopelessly hypochondriac sister. Into the midst for this madhouse comes Asya's feisty American cousin, and she's bringing long-hidden family secrets connected with Turkey's turbulent past in her wake. And this sounds so good. Without any further ado, let's dive right into this reading vlog and let's start reading The Bastard of Istanbul by Elif Shafak. I'm 60 pages into the book and I must say I'm in awe of Elif Shafak. She has fleshed out this story so well with so many different threads, each stronger than the next, that trying to process it without being fully present for even one thread will make you lose contact with the story. We have Zeliha and family in Istanbul, Rose and Mustafa in Arizona, Barsam and family in San Francisco, and the latter two have a heavy history superimposed on their present, with this particular quote, which is, "The past lives within the present and our ancestors breathe through our children." It sort of is a mainstay of how they look at things. The writing, oh my god, the writing, it is so deeply personal while giving you the feeling that you are looking in from the outside on a scene that is familiar but also very strange. Elif Shafak isn't stingy with her words. She uses as many as needed to get her point across, and whatever she uses hits their mark with such precision that it is both endearing and thrilling in its own way. This is a story of women and not just the ones in Zeliha's family. It is a global story of how women are treated both in their own families as well as in the ones that they are married into. The fact that how we see people changes based on gender, age and culture hits you from between the lines, be it how the world and her family sees Zeliha, how her ex and his family and the world see Rose, how Mustafa and Barsam are treated. I mean, there are so many equations that I could go on and on and on about, but I might veer off into spoiler territory even though I'm only at the 60-page mark. It's too soon for a summary, but in short, I'm really loving The Bastard of Istanbul by Elif Shafak, and I somehow have this feeling that this one is going to become a favorite. I am on page 121 of The Bastard of Istanbul and I am loving this book, something that I have said in an earlier update, but I just want to reiterate because of how gorgeous this writing is. Elif Shafak is a damn genius in how she has woven everything, and if you don't know what's going on in here, the history, the actual history that she has incorporated into the story, then this can be an eye-opening read for you. And the history that she talks about is ugly, it's bloody, it's violent, and it trickles down through generations into the present, or the present of the story at the moment, whatever is going on. And the way she has used that to make points is fantastic. Whatever history she references, she explores it, she studies it, she puts it out with nuance, and she does it in a manner that is both compassionate as well as understanding. Two things that I really want to talk about. There's one place where this is being said. Auntie Varsanek's constant objection to her reading lay a more structural, if not primordial concern, a fear of survival. She simply did not want her to shine too bright, to stand out from the flock. Writers, poets, artists, intellectuals were the first ones within the Armenian milleth to be eliminated by the late Ottoman government. They had first gotten rid of the brains and only then proceeded to extradite the rest, the lay people. Like too many Armenian families in the diaspora, safe and sound here but never truly at ease, the Tehakmakchayans were both elated and vexed when a child of theirs read too much, thought too much, and swerved too far away from the ordinary. This is something that is common across history. Like every time a government or a power that is in rule wants to take control of the people, of its kingdom, of the lands, of everything, the first people they come for are the writers, the poets, all of these people, the intellectuals, because they are the ones who spread ideas, they are the ones who teach people what is right and what is wrong. So if these people are muzzled, the ruling power can take full control, they can take power into their hands and do whatever they want. So that is the first line of attack for them. That is where the first sword falls. And when I read this paragraph, this part of the paragraph, I felt chills because of how relevant it is even today. I didn't think that it would become relevant again. I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't want to live through historical events, but reading about that and seeing the news, seeing social media, watching the news and all of that, I feel like it's a loop. It's happening again. Moving on from there, I want to talk about this, one of the main characters. Her name is Armanush. She is Armenian American, and the whole concept of being both cultures, being part of both cultures but not finding an identity everywhere. There is a particular place where it hit me especially hard because of something. She writes on a group chat or an internet forum that being the only daughter of an Armenian father, he himself a child of survivors, and of a mother from Elizabethtown, Kentucky, I do know how it feels to be torn between opposite sides, unable to fully belong anywhere, constantly fluctuating between two states of existence. I feel like society is to blame for this, because if humans hadn't collectively thought that ostracizing people based on who they are, what two identities they carry, that they have to belong to both places or they have to belong to one place to actually be seen as human, or if they had to fight to fit into certain places, to fit into certain slots, then so many people wouldn't be fighting for their identity so much. They wouldn't have identity problems so much. Mixed identities, tagged identities, all of them, they need to be normalized. It's not like you can be only one thing. We contain multitudes. So why would society think that this one person can be only this one thing, or this person can be Indian but they cannot be Australian? If an Indian in Australian becomes more Australian than Indian, then that's a different problem. If an Indian remains Indian in Australia, that's a different problem. They say you can't assimilate. It's a lose-lose situation kind of thing. I use that as an example. But when this problem of conforming to one identity or not, it sort of goes away, things become so much easier, so much more beautiful for us, because you are not just one thing, you are more than that. And this one is a perfect depiction of that swell of emotions inside the chest. It sort of rises up and it overtakes you, like, who am I? What am I doing here? How do I reconcile with the past? And how do I make sure that I am more than just one thing, or I am more than just this and this? I am me. So how do I find myself? How do I find my identity? And Elif Shafak has done such a fabulous job of encapsulating all of this. I'm happy because I'm reading such a work of art, but I'm also sad because of everything that has been described so far in this book. I mean, there's still 240 pages more to go, and my idea or my opinion of the book might change, but at the moment, oh, this is a work of absolute art. Elif Shafak, I didn't know that you were this awesome. In my last update, I talked to you about the ways in which I love Elif Shafak's writing in this book. But right now I want to talk about something that is so real and so scary because it's happening even more these days. But when you read this book, you realize that it's not that modern, this phenomenon. It's not something that we thought that it has gone away because we are in this modern age in the 21st century, so those things can't be true. People are better than that, and etc. But there is so much that people refuse to accept. There is so much that they think that their knowledge suffices without having to pause and think that, wait, if this person is talking about this, if this person is sharing something like this, could it be that we are wrong? Could it be that we are the ones who have been brainwashed, who have been, brought together in a cult-like situation? Although cult-like is a bit harsh, I just use it for a lack of a better word. We are seeing live how some people, despite evidence of knowledge and there are sources of information, they refuse to think that anybody who they believe or voted for or worked for or anything like that, they refuse to believe that they are wrong. They refuse to believe that they themselves have been misled. Although I think that that is a natural human reaction, to think that they couldn't live with the fact that they were misled, they couldn't live with the fact that they were duped that way or something. That history is also your history. It's what you have been, it's what you have done. To not recognize that is appalling. This book was banned in Turkey because government officials were angered, saying that this book is showing Turkey in a negative way. You do realize that history is a thing, right? It's documented. There are so many sources. To just reject it out of pocket without doing any due diligence, without doing any research, that is exactly what is going on in the world, everywhere. First hand I see it. And how do you get through to these people? How do you tell them, how do you make them understand that the problem is they are treating people in a way that they wouldn't like to be treated? But it's okay for them to be treating others some completely different way because they don't agree with them. I don't have words. Every time something of this sort comes up in this book, it just triggers a next level thing in me because of how global this thing is, how universal this thing is. And that is what Elif Shafak is so good at, that she makes this thing, she brings it home to you. She makes it feel like you are part of the story as a whole, and she makes you feel some responsibility towards what's going on. And that is the best type of fiction, because if you can interact with a fiction book in such a way, then maybe you'll have the power, you'll have the wherewithal to interact with real life also in that way. And the place where I stopped off at, I'm on page 214 now. Just in the previous chapter, there is this guy who just goes to so many lengths. He does so many gymnastics to deny a particular thing. He just keeps giving excuses left, right and center. He does mental gymnastics, verbal gymnastics, all kind of gymnastics, and he gets decked in the face. The thing is, he goes beyond the line, goes personal, because he didn't like what someone said to him about this particular thing. And that is what this book is all about. It shows the different levels of nationalism. It shows different levels of how people are when it comes to looking back on their history, on their country's history, and how they have put a red line between what happened and what is. They do believe that once that red line was drawn, it was the empire and not the country that did all of it, but that's not it, is it? This book, man, this book, I'm so glad you guys are having me read this because it's fantastic. I love it. There's so much to take away from this book, so much knowledge that you can glean, and once you learn something and then you go back to this book again, everything just sharpens in clarity a little bit more. And trust me, when I first learned about this, I was heartbroken. It just left me disillusioned for months on end. And to read this and to see the reactions to it and to see how people think of it and the way they treat people who are coming up to them with, "You treated me this way," so I would like some acknowledgement of it. But when you kick them in the face and say, "No, you are all a piece of rebel scum," how do you expect sympathy? How do you expect people to say that, "Okay, fine, whatever you say"? No, that's not going to happen. And this book is showing that to me in a big way, and I'm loving it. The way everything has come full circle, or rather the way the present is echoing the past, is something that I probably was expecting because of the context of this book, but I was also not expecting it. My mind is being blown because I'm scared. I have foreboding of sorts that there is something in the story that's about to unhinge me. I am now on page 258 and I have so many thoughts that half of which I cannot actually say on camera, especially because they might be spoilers. But as much as this book is about history and a very gory, violent history, but also one of reconciliation, but also one of ancestral pain, this is also a sort of a love letter to Istanbul. And Istanbul has been one of the cities that I really want to visit, especially in the past 3.5 years. I have fallen in love with the idea of the city. Whatever I've seen of it, whatever I've read of it, it intrigues me more and more and more. So to see the characters in this book talk about Istanbul that way, amidst all this mental weight that they are holding, amidst all this conversational and verbal weight that they have, because in the talks that they're having with each other, it excavates all the pain that they carry from their ancestors and from the people who suffered so much. So to read that and to read these two things, because both of these things are true and there's beauty in both, a painful beauty in one and a visual beauty and emotional beauty in another. So to see that and to see Istanbul being portrayed in such a way, it just gives me a very proud feeling, as if I have owned that city, or I belong to that city, or that city belongs to me for whatever reason. You get that wanderlust, right, at some times where you cannot even explain where it is coming from, where that emotion is coming from, but you just want to get up, book your tickets, book your flights and just leave. You just want to make impulsive decisions because of how beautiful that those visions are, those visions that someone's writing are creating in your brain. This is a book that makes you feel all the feels. If you love history and traveling and fiction all at the same time, then this will be one that you will hold close to your heart. Of course, that does not mean that you discount all the painful parts of the story, because there is more pain in this book than I even ever thought there was going to be. But those two actually coexist in this book. Elif Shafak, you genius, you absolute beautiful genius. You are a favorite from now on. Words fail me, and all of my excitement, all of my sorrow, they don't have a place to go. They are just clashing against each other inside me, and maybe they will coexist just like the themes of this book coexist within it. I'm on page 315 of this book, and there are three things that I want to talk to you for this section of the book. First is that at one point I realized what was happening, and I was so horrified, and I was so angry and pissed off and whatnot, because whatever comes later on, it's just a complete antithesis to what certain characters have been portraying themselves to be, and it just disgusted me on the next level, because it is paired with a very unhealthy dose of misogyny and sort of self-importance that I haven't seen in a bit. But more than that, there is this patriarchal thinking about how only a man can take the family name forward, how he is more precious than any daughter that could be born into the family. When you bring those two together, and there is just that one point where you realize what it is, why Zeliha went to the gynec's office in the beginning and what exactly is going on, it killed me. I still haven't recovered, because I still have 45 more pages to go, and I feel like it's going to be, I don't want to say, okay, anyway, moving on to the second part is about how there is the talk of a certain artifact that happens in one household which was supposed to belong to the other household. How did this happen? Was it that it was stolen, or was it that it was handed over? Was it handed over for safekeeping? Like, what is it? I want you to read this book. This is that kind of a book. What has Elif Shafak done to me? And the third and the most hard-hitting and the saddening things that happened in this book is when one of the main characters' grandmother dies. And she goes, and now she's gone. I didn't even have the chance to see her one last time. Yeah, I lost my grandma too recently, and I didn't get to see her one last time. And so yeah, that's basically where I'm at with this. I have about 45 pages to go, and now I'm planning to sit down and finish this book, because I can't wait to see what happens in the end, because everything is about to come to a head. Family is family whether you like it or not. Basically, there are a lot of not problematic but enabler characters in this book, that they are like, oh, it's just the way it is, it's just how the world works. I don't want the world to work the way it works. नहीं चाहिए मेरे को. I want a better, fairer world in which everybody lives equally, peacefully. We don't know that story. It's highly possible. I knew it. I mean, I didn't know it from the beginning, obviously. I worked it out in the past few 20, 30 pages. But phew, that connection. The way things have come full circle. Somewhere earlier in the book, we had this sentence: for her to have a future, she had to become a woman with no past, in relation to one character. And now the mentioning of another character, and the way this fits for this character as well, this sentence fits here as well. And you see how this echoes throughout whoever we see the character list, it echoes and it makes so much sense. And this is exquisite writing. Exquisite writing. There's no two ways about it. I'm in awe. I'm bowled over because the care that she has taken to bring these details to life, the care she has taken to make sure that all these dots connect in the way that they need to be connected, but without rushing it too much. It's... Whew. How could they take refuge in their manufactured amnesia any longer? You couldn't. This is art. This is writing. It's way too late in the night and I've just finished reading The Bastard of Istanbul by Elif Shafak, and what a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous book this is. It is one of the best books I've read this year. It contains so much that will make you pause and think and give you goosebumps at the end because of how she has crafted this story. She does not rush anything and she doesn't take it slow either. She goes at a pace that will keep you invested and that will keep you asking for more with every page turned. I could not stay away from this book. This book is such an amazing combination of so many things. It has history, it has familial stories and connections and equations. It has accounts of women's bodies, women's agency, about patriarchy and how history can affect the present, how coincidences work, how life is a coincidence, but also there are so many layers to that because you can't just say life is a coincidence and get on with it. The heaviest part of this book is the history, something that so many people are ready to dismiss because they are not willing to accept that something that has happened in the past has actually happened. They believe it to be some sort of a propaganda from a certain community of people against their nation. So they've turned into this ultra-nationalist kind of people who will think that their country can do no wrong. It hasn't done anything wrong, or whatever has happened, it wasn't done by the country because there was an empire at the time. So to bring all those together and to so intricately weave the story in a way that makes full sense. They make sense when you put the puzzle pieces together because everything that you read about, it is somehow stored in your brain, and when you come to the point where that particular thing is getting resolved, it feels like multiple light bulbs going off in your brain, and it just lights you up from within, not in the oh I'm so joyful kind of way, but in the way that will make you think about what the connotations are about that coincidence being true. I don't think I can say this enough, but this one is a masterpiece of a book, an exquisite piece of writing. I am a huge Elif Shafak fan now, and I'm kicking myself for not having read her works before. But now that I have read this, I'm going to go through every single one of her works because she just writes so brilliantly well. And her, in the author's note towards the end, there she says a couple of things. She talks about how this book was banned and how she was treated as a sort of a traitor to her country when this book came out. And when she talks about translations, she reminded me a lot of Jhumpa Lahiri, because what she says, I've also seen Jhumpa Lahiri say similar things about. I think the two authors that I've discovered this year and absolutely loved are Sally Rooney and Elif Shafak. Such brilliant writers, and the way she has started this book, ended this book, and the way she has connected the dots is also chef's kiss. I don't have words because it's magnificent. So if you're looking for a book that will make you feel all of these things, then The Bastard of Istanbul by Elif Shafak is one that you should definitely pick up. Must read. It's a huge plus, and thank you all for choosing this book to be the subscriber pick. I'm so glad that you chose this and that I read it. So what did you think of this reading vlog? Have you read The Bastard of Istanbul by Elif Shafak? If yes, what did you think of it? If no, will you pick this book up after watching this video? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up or a comment. And if you'd like more content like this and more book recommendations, then please do subscribe because there's a lot coming up. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading and take care.